Guess what came in the mail today? It's right in front of your eyes. Let's talk about it. It's been about 2 months since I started stacking Austrian Philharmonics, and today is a milestone. I have completed one box of Austrian Philharmonics. And I want to tell you some reasons why I've been stacking these silver bullion pieces over other types of bullion pieces. And this is some advice for all the stackers out there who are looking to stack. I know a lot of you are not all in the same area, so you will have access to different stores and different sellers, different dealers. And because of that, the type of silver you can buy is different, right? For me personally, if I was to go all out and stack American silver rounds and American silver eagles, it would be very expensive. I can tell you that American silver eagles, if I was to buy them now, locally, order them to be shipped to where I live, it would cost me about $34 a piece. That is the current price for silver eagles for me. What about these? Well, they are the cheapest ones I could find, the cheapest bullion coins I could find. Are they cheap? Not really. They're still around $28 to $30 a piece, but they are cheaper than silver eagles, right? Now, I like these because the coin is well designed and it's easy to stack them. As you can see here, I can make a perfectly well aligned stack and everything lines up exactly. But, they are still pricey. So every single month, I've been trying to not buy the whole thing and buy a lot of it. I found a place which gives me relatively cheap shipping. They ship based upon how much you order. So the less you order, actually, the less you pay. If you order under a certain insured amount, I think it's $9, $10 for the shipping. So it's not too bad. Otherwise, I'm paying close to $25 for fixed shipping to other places. The insured shipping is $25 to be shipped to my home, which makes it quite expensive. And you can ask me, why don't I go to my local coin shop? Well, because the local coin shops here, this will not sell for $29, $28 at the local coin shop. They will sell you this at $32 a piece. So there is no way you can buy it cheaply in the coin shops, in the local coin shops. What about these? I checked some of the coin shop prices. I called them up, I asked them how much were they selling gold. They were selling these at $345 to $350 a piece, and I got these in the 338 Swiss francs, so a bit below 340 Swiss francs. They were 350 Swiss francs a piece. At online, they're selling them at 338 a piece. So there is a $12 difference, which is quite a lot if you think about it. It's almost a 3% difference between, it's a 3% difference. So that's a lot in terms of gold. For gold to have a 3% difference, it's quite a big difference. So what have I been doing every single month? I've been buying a bit of gold and silver. Now, I made a few videos a while ago talking about 2021. I increased my stacking speed, and the main reason is I see some major changes coming up. I'm not going to go too much into detail about that in this video, but I have been stocking up on gold and silver. You're like, but gold and silver has jumped and they're at a high. I think that gold and silver has jumped, but the jump has been halted partially because of QE and the effect that it has had on the stock market, right? Essentially, during the first part of the pandemic, the stock market should have crashed and should have stayed down for a much longer time. It didn't stay down. It just instantly rebounded with the expectation that the Federal Reserve can save everything and can print money and print the problems away. The problem is the Federal Reserve printing money is more like putting a Band-Aid on a cut limb. I mean, it will stop some of the bleeding for a while, but you still haven't resolved the problem. There's still no vaccine, and that is the core of the issue. The core issue has not been resolved. And as long as the core issue cannot be resolved, it is absolutely insane that people are evaluating these companies as if they were healthy and growing into the next year. That is just complete insanity. Can you think about that? That right now we're down, like, maybe the overall economy down 16% everywhere in the world. The global economy is down like X amount, but then we expect immediate recovery and companies to grow at another like 5-6% every single year as if nothing happened within the next year to catch up to the losses made this year. It doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. That's not how the economy works. I have a theory of why people are doing this, why the markets are behaving so irrationally. I think one of the main reasons is because the returns on everything that is a safe asset is so low that people are chasing what you call return opportunities. And return opportunities is when people try to over optimize their returns in a bad situation and they make more mistakes. What I think is going to happen is that we are going to pay a very, very, very steep price for what has happened during this current year. And this current year is not over. It will probably continue onto next year. Until there are 0 cases, it's going to be a drag. So what have I been doing? Well, I believe that in the long term, gold and silver has been relatively underappreciated for the longest of time. I mean, if you look at the last 20 years, right? Gold and silver, there's been constant pressure put on gold and silver, people telling you that gold and silver are not investments. They're terrible investments. They take up space. They don't generate interest year on year. And you have to sell them and buy them. And there's a big spread for the physical metal. But what they don't understand is that even though there is a big spread, even though there is a lot of, it doesn't generate returns by itself, the commodity itself is completely undervalued, gold and silver. And it's undervalued relative, not because itself it has fundamental uses, it's relatively undervalued to the stock market. Because if you think a stock's valuation is determined by the earning per share, then most companies right now are not making any earnings per share. So what is their valuation, right? How much overvalued are they? And if you look at bonds, they are a negative return rate. So there is no return over there. So where are the returns, right? So then why, in a world of no returns, should gold and silver, which has no returns inherently, be considered something that's bad? Because now nothing has returns on it. So gold and silver is on the same playing field. And when you put stocks, bonds, and precious metals on the same playing field in terms of returns per dollar, then the clear winner of what is being undervalued is precious metals. That is how fundamentally that is. I think, like, if you look at these, some people, you can look at the charts, and I think that currently, if you want to talk about charts, some of you might be interested, some of you might not be interested. I'm not a big charts guy, but I do look a little bit at it, and I think the general charts, I think, tell you a lot about sentiment, like how people feel about something, right? That's why the stock market is working right now, because people feel that there won't be a pandemic, there won't be a second wave. They're wrong. There is. We're currently in it. It only takes a few weeks for the second wave to rear its ugly head and then trash the party. And then you won't even see it coming, because it goes from 1,000 to 10,000 to 10,000 to 100,000, 100,000 to a million new cases within a month. So do you have time to react to that? Does the market have time to react to that? What is a million cases look like? Well, a million cases during a week is horrific. It will look very, very scary. It will look like a war zone. So no, I think people are not ready. People are not prepared. It is they haven't gone into the mindset that we're in it for the long haul. And they're thinking that it's already over, and they are counting their their eggs before their chickens before the eggs hatch, and they've jumped back into the stock market. I think that was a really big mistake for a lot of people. Maybe you've exited, but I don't think a lot of people have exited. I think people will try to hold onto as long as possible, but I think all the major players who have a bit of foresight have decided to exit. Or maybe not. Maybe they're also blindsided by the whole situation. And then, irrationality can happen for a long time. But if I had to talk about value, precious metals is undervalued. That's why I am still buying despite the recent price jump, because we are in a zero interest and return world where you don't really have actual returns on things. You only have valuations of items, and the valuation generates your return. But really, there's no dividends being handed. There's very few dividends. There's no the zero risk rate return on treasuries is almost zero. In Europe, it's negative. It is nonsensical that these things, right, are so low valued at this time. I mean, even as a currency, as an industrial metal, all commodities at this specific moment are undervalued. And I want to point out the reason why they're undervalued is because we have not prepared for a world where these things are yet to be valued. And that is something you have to think about, because in order for these to have their correct market value, right, it will happen sooner or later. But during the shift between when they are undervalued to the shift where they will be overvalued, in the current shifting moment, you have some insane things happening to commodities, such as negative price oil. What is negative price oil? Well, if you think about it, negative price oil is 100% value. It's completely undervalued. The reason why you have negative price oil is because you don't have infrastructure to accommodate oil. That's very unlikely to happen to precious metals because they don't take up very much space, and there will always be storage for them. You don't need very much space to store them. This box, you can store 20 ounces. But when you have commodities and you're going through a shift, and a whole worldwide shift, and there is no infrastructure, because commodities, unlike financial instruments, they're not abstract, they're real things. And if their valuation is undervalued right now and you want to make a purchase of these things immediately, you need to also have infrastructure that can accommodate your purchase. That's not very clear if you can do that. Not everybody can do that. Like, I cannot take 100 barrels of oil and have a storage facility to store it, even if somebody was willing to pay me for it, to give me negative priced oil. I won't be able to do that. And if I did that, I will probably have to give negative price oil, like pay somebody to store it for me. That's what's happening in a lot of commodities, that all of a sudden, because of the shift, right, the current shift, that the markets are completely overvalued. People are exiting markets, different markets, bonds, stocks. They're trying to shift towards physical assets, but they can't. Why can't they? Because they don't have storage. So what happens? It means that the physical assets are still undervalued, and they cannot move up until the physical shift happens. That means the physical infrastructure is built to accommodate it. Do I think that will happen with silver and gold? I think silver and gold will react much faster because there's less infrastructure needed to store gold and silver. But there will still be some infrastructure changes. And I think most likely people who make safes, who sell home security, who sell guns, who sell home protection items, they're going to have a field day in the next upcoming years, because people are going to buy those things because they're going to be moving out of virtual assets, which essentially that's what most of these derivatives are. The stocks, bonds, a stock is essentially a liability of the company for which you're granted rights of decision in that company. That's it. It's an abstract concept. It's determined by the law. It's not, the company is an abstract tax entity. That's essentially what it is. It allows people to do business. It facilitates business. It removes the ties with one single individual. So yeah, it is an abstract concept. it is real, but it is abstract. So there's a difference between something being fake and not real and being abstract. Like, for example, I can say the word chocolate is an abstract word, but the thing chocolate also exists. That's kind of how the relationship goes. So I ran it on quite enough. I'm really happy. I got my monthly I completed my 2 month objective. So I got half of this last month. I got a little bit in the beginning of the month. I got up to 15. Now I've got 20, and then I got 2 pieces of gold. I did accelerate my buying of precious metals, and I'm really happy that my main supplier of precious metals is now selling platinum in 1 ounce units. So I'll be having some platinum coming in because I've always wanted to pick up some up, but buying platinum is much more difficult than I imagined in the beginning, especially physical platinum. One of the main problems is not many people sell it. Not many dealers sell platinum, and when they do, they charge you either a crazy shipping fee, or they will charge because the product is not stored on site, or they only allow you to have vaulted options for platinum, or they will only sell you platinum in kilo bars, and I do not want to buy a kilo of platinum in 1 month. It's just way too much. So look forward to the next video. I hope my shipment of platinum and gold comes in, because that will be another video. It'll be slightly, I'll be buying a little bit more than what I normally buy during the month, but it will not be, I'm not buying like 30 grand more. It's more like, because platinum is so cheap right now, I'm going to be buying like maybe 1 or 2 ounces of platinum this month. So I'm going to double what I buy normally, but I'm going to go into a new precious metal. Hope you look forward to looking at that. If you want to be reminded of the next upcoming content, click the like button, click the subscribe button, and leave a comment. I like talking to you guys. I reply to everybody. Like I said, I made it my goal to reply to everybody, and I want to foster sort of a community. And I think I can learn from you guys. I can help you share my knowledge. I don't know everything. I'll tell you right now, I don't know everything, but whatever I can learn from the community and whatever I can learn from my viewers, I do. And if you want to chat, write a comment. Thank you very much for watching. This is Silver Dave, out.